I never really saw anybody in media that was like, oh, like being a chef is something to be proud of. Being a chef is something that you can actually succeed in, and be great, be great, be great.
So this is the 1,000 Days Podcast, episode seven. Oh, look, okay. Seven, like completion. Okay. There you go, boom. So this episode we're going to talk about branding and how important your brand is for your business. We all know the importance of getting a business, what it takes from zero to $1 million in revenue, right? We know it takes you start getting a business license, getting your EIN, doing all the hard stuff that nobody knows about, doesn't look pretty, you got to go down to City Hall, all that stuff. But when it comes to branding, it's a thing in business, you get a DBA, doing business as. And that is technically your brand, that's your name out to the world. And this episode, we're going to be talking about how important that is, what's the meaning behind it, just as well as your name. When your parents named you, you got to name your business. We have the great, the famous Cornelius right here, the owner and CEO of Slim Strength. He has a great brand. He has a great business. He's going to be here discussing with us how his brand has propelled him into his business entrepreneurship, his journey, and everything that it takes. He's gone all over. He got photo shoots, magazines, all kinds of stuff. He bigger than Yeezys. Oh, wow. He bigger than Adidas. He bigger than Nike. You see, they had didn't they just come out with the movie Air, right? So just check him out. Give him 15 years. No, it's gonna take that long. It's gonna be Slim. That's what it's gonna call. It's gonna call Slim the movie. With what's his name? Michael B. Jordan. He's gonna be on. I'm telling you right there. Boom, boom, boom. So
he's kind of short though. Is he gonna be playing me?
Hey, he might not be playing you. I don't know who's a tall actor. I don't know.
Jonathan Majors. Bring him back.
Jonathan Majors. Yeah, there you go. You gotta get
let's get some weight. Mr. Cornelius to speak about who he is to the viewers.
Well, first of all, thank you all for having me on this amazing show. Again, my name is Cornelius Johnson. I am the CEO, servant leader of Slim Strength Activewear. We are a faith-based sports apparel brand with purpose. So part of our purpose, you may not know, I grew up in foster care. Okay. So part of my purpose is to give back to that community. So in a nutshell, that's where we have athletic apparel for men and women. Definitely want to get into kids later on down the road, but right now we're focusing on men and women. So we have quality gear, athleisure wear, joggers, shorts, tanks, tees, hats. We just dropped our new collection, the Blessed collection. Okay. We have 3 colors for the women right now, and we have 1 color for the men right now. Looking to drop a black, maybe the end of June is my goal. But yeah, so we're an athletic apparel company.
Okay. Can you say black? What is that like a certain category? Like what is that? Explain.
So the color black.
Just the color black, not like it's premium kind of.
Well,
stuff.
Actually, it is going to be a premium fit because the colors that we have currently don't have pockets. And we know women love pockets on their leggings, right? I do. So we're going to add pockets. We're going to add some more detail. So it will be a premium line or item that's going to come out late June.
Yeah, because I believe I have the leggings, but I don't remember if it had pockets or not.
They have pockets, yeah.
Oh, I don't.
That's the new thing, and I knew that when I got this style. But I like the fabric on it. And the women like it, but they're like, where the pockets at? Where the pockets at? So I said, well, that black, we're going to kind of make it a premium.
Okay.
We're going to add, like I said, add pockets. And we're going to add a black for the men as well. So right now we have a sleeveless T-shirt hoodie with some joggers for the men in gray. We're going to bring that out in black. We're going to do a little changes on the Blessed logo. Go to my website and check that out. Yeah.
So, we can give tags at the end, but I think it's really good if you connect them to the tag right now so they can go and check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Slimstrength.com is my website, or you can follow us on Instagram at slimstrength_Inc. and on Facebook, Slim Strength Activewear. I want to put this out there too. As I stated, we are a faith-based sports apparel brand. SLIM is an acronym for Spirit Lives in Me, or Spirit Lives in Man. So it's not about slim in stature. So we consider ourselves a sports apparel brand about God, but not beating you over the head with the Bible.
Right. Oh, I didn't know that.
We want you to focus on your inner man versus your outer man. So that's what Slim Strength is all about.
That's actually dope.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, I liked it before, but like when you connect to a brand, really, it really says something because you can not just go off of what you see, right? You know what has been put in to grow it, to build it, to get it evolving to the top, the pinnacle,
Absolutely.
That's great.
Ever since when I was young, I've always wanted to be a business owner, and I wanted my faith to be surrounded by whatever I was doing. So it was important that my faith was kind of the highlight. At the same time, not almost deceitful, but not deceitful. Because when you hear the word Slim Strength, you don't think about Bible until you hear about what the story is, right? So, a lot of people, when they hear Slim Strength, especially if they were, it's not disrespectful, but a plus-size person, they're like, well, I'm not slim. And then I got to give them a 20-minute spiel about what Slim Strength is.
Right.
And we're going to kind of talk about that as far as the branding, because that was an obstacle for me, because I really didn't know how to tell that story properly, right? And it's very important when you start that branding phase, you got to understand your own story, and then you got to understand how to put it out. Then you got to make sure you targeting the right people, right? I think with a good brand, it's gonna spread on its own in a sense, because it's a clear message, and my message wasn't that clear at the beginning. And so that's very important about a brand, because if you don't have a clear message, nobody's going to be able to connect. Like, you didn't know.
No.
Obviously,
and
we've been knowing each other
for years.
We've been knowing, you see what I'm saying? So we've been knowing each other for a while. And so that's, I'm just being real. And I hope that this helps somebody. But that's an example of me not branding myself properly, because there's no reason she shouldn't know what Slim Strength was. If anything, you want to make sure that message is presented as soon as possible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so that's what I failed for a while. For a while, like a while. Like
But you don't always get it right.
Exactly.
We don't always get it right. I mean, we talked about this, like we keep referencing, but our topics are connected and they're purposeful. But that's what, when someone starts a business, you learn from the process that you thought or think is the right way, and then you kind of change it, like, well, wait a minute, no, I've got to build that mission statement. I've got to pound that pavement to get the people that I want to come and be a part of my business, to know what my business means. So I mean, that's absolutely great. So do you have like and you jump in if you need to, but do you speak out to the community often? Do you do any?
That's a great question. So as I said in my opening, we are sports apparel with a purpose. So I give back to the foster care community. I'm an ambassador for this organization called Connect Our Kids, and what they've done, they've built a technology to help social workers find family connections for foster youth. So, matter of fact, I just got hired full-time with them as a trainer. So I will be going out. That's amazing.
Look, I gotta drink to that. Cheers.
So I will. Look, this is water, but hey.
Hey, I can match your fly. I'm sorry. That was disrespectful. Cheers.
But I'm very excited about that, because that's something that I've been wanting to do really since 2018, when I felt God tugging at my heart, and He said, it's time to share your story. Branding story is very important for branding, right? And so when I felt that in my heart, that it's time to share my story, as I stated, I grew up in foster care. I lived in 4 foster homes and a group home for 6 years. So I can relate to that community big time, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's my story. And so now, figuring out how to incorporate that with my brand. Because we got 4 different types of T-shirts on, right? Everybody, and the apparel business in itself is a very large business. So everybody has a shirt. What they're connecting to is your message. So, of course, you want it to look good. Of course, you want the quality to be there. You want all the bells and whistles. But if they can connect to your story And if that's 100% cotton shirt, they're going to buy it because it's you that they're buying from. It's really not the shirt. You know what I'm saying? It's the message. So
it's the belief.
It's
You
the
know,
belief.
faith in you to really have the courage.
yeah.
Because it's not easy to tell a story. It really isn't,
Yeah.
and it's not easy to not just tell it to anyone, but to
Right.
everyone.
Right,
Because now
exactly.
when you build a business and you're putting it out there for everyone, you shouldn't stop
Right,
people.
right.
You know, it's just difficult to get it out there. So we applaud that you're comfortable with coming, on this platform to discuss your story. Because again, that was something you wore on your chest,
Right,
Brandon.
right.
But I didn't know that.
Right, yeah.
That's another thing I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so this is why communication and really sitting down at round tables and really having, people say business meetings, but true business meetings are when you sit down and you just rap with
Right.
that business partner that you feel is I don't want to use the word worthy, but everybody doesn't belong in your space.
Absolutely.
So let's be clear, let's be real. But that is really a part of what building business is to sit down with one another and really talk. And you may agree or disagree, but the fact that you can sit down and have a conversation, that we could even have this platform. So many people are having podcasts, and so many podcasts turn and mean for something else. But it's very instrumental to see that you. While we feed the community, you're feeding them,
Right.
but with knowledge
Right.
and
Right.
experiences in your story. Let me just, if I can, tell me when to stop because I'm one of those. But when you see those community children, who are living your life, maybe even worse, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you approach that? Like, do you approach it where listen to me because I know, or do you really listen to their story?
Man, so for me, my perspective is I want to be that answer or that beacon of light, because when I went into foster care, I wasn't that young. I was actually 9. So I had a relationship with my mom and my stepfather at the time. I didn't meet my father until I was 24. Didn't reunite with my mother until I was 24. So my purpose when it comes to that, I want to help that kid have confidence at the age of 6. Because growing up, I didn't have confidence. I didn't have confidence from the age of 6 to 25. That's a long time to be walking around not believing in yourself, right? And so part of my purpose and my goal is to cut that switch on for that 7-year-old, that 8-year-old now, you know what I mean, versus when they're 19 or 20. Because now, when they start to believe in themselves, they can get so much more done. So that's, when you don't have confidence in yourself, you shut yourself down, you miss out on a lot of opportunity. So just imagine, I can only imagine if I had the confidence that I have now at 8 and 9. I wonder what type of student I would have been. I wonder what type of athlete I would have been because I wanted to do all those things. But because I was so, what I call self-check, I would shut myself down. I didn't know how to really get over obstacles or get over any type of resistance. What I mean by that, bullying, people talking about you, you know how I was growing up in school. So, I had all that against me, right? But I didn't know how to overcome that. You know what I mean? So that's how I want to help the community to say, hey, you know what? You can do it. Start with believing in yourself. Cut that switch on within. Spirit lives in me. Get connected to that spirit within you. And man, the sky is not the limit. You can go as far as you want to go.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. What does I'd say breaking into this industry look like in its beginning stages? After
Man.
you get that kind of confidence and what kind of spark that?
So that's a great question because going back to the beginning, I was excited. So just imagine a kid running through a candy store or a toy store, just excited but don't know what to do.
Yeah.
don't know where to start. I think that's even better. I didn't really know where to start. I just knew I had that drive. I knew that I just felt that calling on my life to be an entrepreneur, to be a leader. So I was excited. I just kind of went out there on my own for the most part, and I learned some things the hard way. I never wanted to give up. I was discouraged 100 million times and just been discouraged recently, but I never wanted to give up.
Yeah.
You know, so at the beginning, I was an excited kid,
Okay.
you know, happy to see the vision and the purpose that God gave me, you know, and that vision came to light in 2008, and he spoke these words to me, are you ready to labor so others can reap? And with that message, it just opened up the revelation of what Slim Strength was. I wrote 2 books back, you know, in that same year I wrote 2 books. You know, they're not out yet.
Oh,
you know.
I was ready.
You know, so it's like, I know it's 2023, like, man, you wrote a book in 2008.
We coming.
Man, so
I needed that.
so you know, and you know, just to kind of touch on that, when God show you your purpose, it's amazing. I mean, you can't handle it all in one setting. You know, it's 2023. I got the message in 2008 where God really showed me my purpose, and it's been a journey. I mean, I was on that journey, but then 2008 came around, really kind of opened my eyes and gave me some understanding of where I was going. And so now I had to like start that process of learning, because when I really launched Slim Strength, that was 9 years later. I didn't launch Slim Strength until 2014. Right? I didn't launch it until 2014. You know, I had another business at the time. I had a delivery business, so I kind of set Slim Strength in the back of my mind. Then 2014 came up, was on my heart heavy. So let me kind of go back. So 2008, when I got the revelation of Slim Strength, I was praying one morning, and Slim Strength has been on my heart. And I just kept saying Slim Strength, Slim Strength. And as clear as I'm talking, I heard the Spirit of God say, Spirit lives in man. That was the message. We say Spirit lives in me because it speaks to the broader audience as well, speaks to the female. You know, as a Christian, man is male and female. But when I got that revelation in 2008, it was like a seed was planted, right? And I didn't move until 2014. So it was just kind of permeating. Is that the right word?
Permeate,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, I don't want to sound stupid. So it was just kind of, you know, marinating, you know. In 2014 was on my heart again. I said, okay, let me do a business plan. Let me look at the market. The market is booming. It's growing. It's not going nowhere. 2015 is when I met this awesome guy, because I started Stratford. Is that,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I met
yeah.
him. He was doing restaurant, as we're sitting in his restaurant now, and I was doing hotel management. So long story short, from 2015 to 2018, I was working at Waffle House full time. You've been to Waffle House? It's a very demanding job. I was going to school full time.
Yes,
I would
we
come to
be in there
class. I would
demanding.
come in class, sleep.
Give me my all-star.
Man, these customers, boy, I tell you.
Yeah, that waffle is everything, man. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So from 2015 to 18, I was it was a lot of up and down. I would be working on Slim Strength, set it down for 4 months. Work on Slim Strength for 9 months, set it down for 3 months. So it was a lot of up and down. So about 2018, when I was working out in the gym, I was like, God, I need this, I need that. And God said, focus on the ministry part of the business. And I stopped in the middle of my work, and I was like, well, God, you know I'm not chasing money. But what he showed me in the Bible, when Jesus sent the disciples out, what he said to them was, take no purse. Right? Purse is money. And what he began to minister to me was, don't worry about the money. I got you. You focus on me. I'm going to provide everything else you need. And when I made that mental shift, then that's when things just started to come into play. Got a partnership with Crunch Fitness. I started working with OCB, which is a bodybuilding network. And that's where I make most of my money right now, on those platforms. OCB being my bigger platform. Crunch is more exposure, you know, in the community.
In the local, yeah.
But when I go to OCB, we do really well. So my goal now is to really get my internet sales going, you know, and that's where branding comes in. And, you know, I don't know what other question you have about branding, but there's so many, what's the right word? So many underlying things you need to do to get that branding going. One area that I failed at was getting data. What I mean by that, at all these pop-ups, I ran into so many people, and I did not do a good job of getting emails. That is so important when you have a brand, because it takes time to get those emails. But guess what? If you're getting that proper data and now you're building up that database, guess what? When you got a new shirt to come out and you got 1,000 people on your emailing list, and let's say you get 10% of 1,000, that's 100 people, and you're selling your shirt for $40, $50, boom, you just came up $5,000.
Yeah.
You understand? I did an awful job at collecting data. Like, I didn't know. I was excited. Remember, I'm excited. Okay, I got a business. Everybody gonna buy my shirt, man. I'm a boom. And I'm sitting there scratching my head like, man, ain't nothing moving. And the reason why nothing was moving because I didn't properly put my branding elements together.
Yeah.
And it's not, honestly, it's really only a few things that you need to make sure you're doing while you're building your brand. You want to build up your audience. You want to, again, collect data, because with a push of a button, now you got potential customers, right? The other thing is you want to make sure your design is appealing. You want to make sure your design is speaking to your market, speaking to whatever arena that you're in, So those 3 steps right there, if you master those 3, you'll be on your way because you're going to continuously learn. You're going to bring in other talent, but it's not that hard. You just got to do those 3 basic, those are just some of the basic things that you need to do. And I didn't do a good job at that.
What was your first piece, and has that always been your logo?
So this is my classic logo.
I know, I was going to tell you.
This is the classic, Slim S and the big S. We now have what we call the branded S, where we kind of took both S's and kind of put them together, and they kind of look like
Intertwined.
in a time, coming together. And so I still use this one. This is our classic. We put this in the inside of our tag, and now the branded S is more on the forefront.
Okay.
So yeah.
Very much thought put into the creation. So, as we come to a close, what is the best advice you can give to that kid who really doesn't know and believe in themselves? I know you say we'll teach them that, but it's not as easy as you say, right? I mean, humans are humans.
I'm going to speak from my perspective. Everybody may not believe the same, but as for me, I'm a Christian, so I believe in God. So that was my source. That was my slim strength. When you look at it, that was my slim strength because without that slim strength, I don't think I would be here. Right. So for me, that's a whole another segment, man. For me, it was my ability or the opportunity I had to tap into the source, which is God. So I guess a broader answer would be you have to begin to believe in yourself. You have to find that purpose within, right? Because everybody on the outside or people on the outside will try to demean you and bring you down, but you got to be able to combat that and don't allow that to be the final answer for you. So I would tell that kid, man, to dig deep, believe in yourself, and just it's okay to be successful.
Let it happen.
I did have one more question for you as well. Where you say your revelation was, are you ready to labor so that others can reap? That really kind of stuck with me. And mentally, what does that do for you to embark on something so selfless?
Man, that's a great question, Patrick, man. So for me, I love to see people win, man. Right? Like, I get a joy, I get a high off of seeing somebody else win, right? So, like, when I meet people who may be in the same apparel, I try to tell them everything I did wrong because I want you to win, right? Yeah. So that's the joy that I get. And when I got that message, I'm a giver, right? That's just one of my gifts. I'm a giver, right? And it's not always about money. Money's good, but giving is so much broader, right? Kindness, words, encouragement, right? If I can help you win, oh man, like, can you tell how excited I get? Because that's what it's all about, right? To see somebody else win, and if I can be that answer to say, hey man, this is what I did wrong, and you get 2 years, 3 years ahead because of me sharing my failures, oh man, that just gives me a high, so others can reap. Yeah. Are you ready to labor so others can reap?
Yeah.
That's right. If I'm laboring so others can reap, don't you think I'm gonna be blessed?
Yeah. That's how it works.
I mean, that's how I see it, in the Bible. So in the scripture that God showed me in the Bible is in Matthew 9:37, I believe. The harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few, right? The harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. Nobody want to labor for somebody else. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what that does for me, man.
You know, realize when other people eat, you know, you eat as well. You know,
Right.
so and that's a big thing, especially in the business world. It's like helping other people. You don't know who you're helping, who you're not helping. You don't
Right.
you don't know years later down the line when they have something going on that they can then, you know, be in a position to even help you or
Right.
invest in you or give you some help, you know, and things like that. So it's like, no, you got to be that. And I love how you have incorporated that into your brand because that's you, and that's important. And that's an important thing we need to learn as we're building our businesses is that, you know, a lot of times people separate. They separate their business from themselves, and it's like, no, this is me over here, and then over here I'm all like this, and it's like, well, people can see that.
Yeah.
They can see the disconnection, right? So then they don't believe it because they can see you don't really believe it. So it's like, you know, you've incorporated your brand and your business to you, and that's what's important. That I try to teach young entrepreneurs is that you got to find something that you love to do. That is just you. You know, I love to cook, so you can put me in the kitchen, and I'm fine. Like it's not like, oh God, there's so many tickets. I'm good to go. Like so. Nobody's ever going to be able to call me out like, well, you just started a restaurant because you want money, or you just started a restaurant because you want people to know you have a restaurant. Like, no, I really love this. Nobody got to come in here, and nobody really got to know who I am. But it's fine, because it's funny, you know. I'll even liken it and finish with the topic. It's like having a restaurant downtown on Main Street. I see a lot more people. You know, before we was in West End. You know, people got to drive there. You're not going to see a lot of random people.
Right.
And now we do a lot of delivery orders. So you get a lot of DoorDash drivers, a lot of Uber drivers. So now I see a lot of people that I know. And whether they even recognize me or not, but I've gone to school with them. I've seen them coming up in the neighborhood, XYZ. And some people I'll kind of say something to, some people I won't. And, you know, it's crazy, like, they don't know that I'm the owner. They don't know that I think I might just be the cook back here working, you know, whatever the case is. And so it's kind of cool because it's like the brand stands like front facing, and that's what is, you know, the face of the business. But that face of the business isn't my face, you know, because it's the same for me. So I don't have to like, oh, yeah, I'm the owner of this. It's like, no, this is your brand, but this represents you. So you're representing you regardless, you know. I like how you've done that, and that's important for people to know. Like, have your branding and have that story. Have that story that's, like, without a doubt connected to you. So you don't got to come up. You didn't just create this story like, well, I did this and I was this and I did. That's just you. That's what's out of your heart and what your experiences are. And now you've created a business that now, you know, you can start sustaining your family. You can start sustaining yourself off of your own life experiences. And I mean, that's just great. You can't do nothing better than that, you know?
Exactly. I agree.
Well, thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you, Cornelius, for giving us some good information. Really, it just puts you in a different mindset of not talking about how can we constantly make money and earn and grow and grow and grow. Like really taking it back to basics. Like, wait a minute, you know, there's this thing's so much bigger than making money. You know. Do we know who we are? So we thank you for bringing that kind of revelation to the podcast today. And I'll say for that book, when you decide to put that out, you got to come back on the show, and then we got to have a book signing here when it's released. We got to do it up and take care of you, you know, because again, you labor so others can reap. But that can only happen if we continue to perpetuate that through our lives, our everyday living. And so that's my invitation to you for every level, every step, every stage. You know, Red Indigo will be there with you side by side. So do come back and see us again.
Absolutely.
This is the end of our seventh episode.
1,000 days.
1,000 days. We will see you guys soon. Come back. Have a good one. Be blessed.
Actually succeed in